Hi, everybody. It's Bill Trainor, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about black and white photography today. Not that I'm an expert, but I have done black and white photography, and I find it interesting, and I'll share some of my thoughts with you. They're my thoughts, they're subjective. I did send you some links for videos that you could look at to give more experts' opinions. Just as an introduction, I'd like to say that I kind of think that as amateur photographers, what we really are looking for is a couple of things. We'd like to have something, our images, we'd like to be unique. They'd like to be universal, that is, people like it, and they should be imaginative. The thing about black and white photography is that, number one, is the traditional form of photography. It's gone back since the beginning of photography. Is it elegant? Is it more artistic than black and white photography? Some people think so. Like film photography, it's also kind of retro, right? I mean, you decide you're going to do something black and white. It's another way of being unique. And then it's pretty common. I know that I probably convert maybe a quarter of my photos to black and white. And I like black and white because when I was young, I saw Ansel Adams and I said, Ansel Adams is cool. I did darkroom work and I found that I really loved darkroom. I thought that was the most amazing thing in the world to have your pictures pop up. I'm a pulmonary doctor. And as a pulmonary doctor, all I did was look at chest x-rays, which are actually just black and white film negatives. And, you know, like I had been doing that, I've done that for 35 years. And Ooh. Believe me, looking at those x-rays has been sort of both interesting and challenging. And it does require that you do a lot of analysis of lines, shapes, and tones. I'm also a sucker for, when I look at photos, I like shapes, lines, juxtapositions, patterns, maybe because I was a pulmonary doctor, maybe not. Anyway, so now black and white photography, is this better than color photography? I would say no, but it is different. And I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures. And I think that you might see some of the variation. I'm going to throw some color films in along with it. Some of these will be juxtaposed with some of the films that we've been doing. And all of the films that I'm showing you are from amateurs like us for the most part. The site is Flickr, and they've been nice enough to separate the films into black and white, birds, flowers, landscapes, and everything else. So they got two little sections with black and white. So I went through about 1,000 of those, looking at them to see how I could come up with some general ideas about that. But these are mainly people like you and I who do photographs, and you can dump them into Flickr, and people will comment on it. So my observations after looking at a lot of these films and looking at the videos that I sent you, trying to get my head around what this art is. I'd say the first thing that's common in black and white photography is contrast. And I don't know, just the pictures you see up here sort of do show an awful lot of contrast, right? I mean, we see, oops. Okay, yeah. We see that there's quite a bit of contrasting lights and darks, and that's a really important characteristic of black and white photography. The reason for that is that, you know, without tonal variation, nothing would look different. I mean, in a regular color photograph, you can tell the red apple from the green pepper, and the color tells you that. But with black and white, they may not look different once you convert them. The second thing is that it does seem to black and white photography has a lot of shapes, lines, patterns and those kinds of things. A lot of people take pictures of those, and those seem to be a commonality among black and white photographers. There's a great deal of use of tonal range. And like in this picture here, you see that there's fairly white whites and fairly dark blacks. So the dynamic range is large. But there's also quite a bit of variation in gray. Can you see my marker there?
Yes.
Is that visible? Yeah. So you see that in this area here, you have a lot of different types of gray that define that. And the grays are what separate out one subject from the other. Another thing that black and white photography does is it uses a lot of silhouettes and shadows. Now I'm going to flip through these. I hope that they come up. Are they coming up fairly quick, or are they dragging?
It's not there yet.
Not there yet? Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to go through these quickly, so if they're not coming up quick. Does everybody see that one now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess this is sort of a silhouette. This has a lot of black and white. There's a big dynamic range, but there's not a whole lot of variation. It's mostly black and white. So your histogram would have 2 bumps in it probably, right? Now that's okay. I mean, it looks like it's a very pleasant photo and I like it. I picked these out as ones that caught my eye out of the many that I looked at. Let me see if we can go on to the next one. Abstract. I won't pick that. Abstract. Are these coming up?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, are they? Okay. All right. All right. Then
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah. They'll all be, I mean, I'm just going to throw a lot of them out just to show you that some of the pictures that we've taken in black and white will have a sort of a different look. And I think that there's, like a different vision that you have when you're taking a black and white photo, or when you're converting a photo to a black and white from a color photo. Like for instance, this flower. And I'm going to go to the next one. Here's an interesting picture with a lot of patterns and shapes. Bob Miller had a nice photo in the photo show that was not so dissimilar to this. Keep going. I got to keep moving because okay. Oops. There's a silhouette, and I missed my other one, which I wanted to show. Well, we'll just keep going. More flowers. Are you all seeing these?
Yes.
That's nice.
Okay.
I like the lighting on that.
Yeah, yeah. All these are individual things, and I'm not going to try to comment on each one other than to point out some of the things about tonal range and contrasts and stuff that I had mentioned. This one here is interesting. It looks like this one has been subjected to some kind of HDR or tonal compression or something. It looks like kind of like cartoonized, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. I actually liked it. Here's a really an abstract photo. I'm going to try not to make too many comments on these things, but again, here's quite a bit. There's good tonal range in this. Like there's fairly dark darks, not as white whites, but the shades of gray I think make this photo reasonable. Here's one that's very popular. You can look it down here. It shows the number of people that liked that. And this is sort of a typical black and white photo. It's a lot of dark, a lot of white, sort of mysterious. I'm just going to flip through some of these.
That's pretty cool.
That's artistic, I think.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. This is just my penchant for boats. But in this one, I don't know that the boats showed up very well. They don't have a lot of separation for all of them, but the sky was kind of interesting. So the tonal range in the sky and some of these other things help to make these photos interesting without color. Again, this is a fairly popular one. It's a lot of contrast, a lot of tonal range. But it's a broken building. The other thing I guess I should say is that I tried to pick these out when I was flipping through the pictures. I said, which one of these would I want to hang in my living room? Okay. So come on, come on. Sort of an abstraction. Here's an example of black and white being used for the texture in the hand. And there's it's a great deal of contrast in this. I don't know why, you know, like, is this a photo that you would want to put in my living room? No, I just used it for contrast, for demonstration. One of the things that I think that happens in black and white photography sometimes is that there's a tendency among the people pursuing that art to confuse days and nights. They darken up things so much that you can't tell whether it's day or night. And I can't tell in this one whether this is actually day or night. I suspect that this is day, and that they just darkened a lot of the stuff up and selectively darkened up the boat. This I think is a composite. This sun or moon up here can't be causing these shadows, right? Do you think?
Right.
Okay. I like these patterns, and I like seashores, so I'll just skip over that. Here's another very contrasty picture. But the picture is almost just the contrast, right? I mean, it's just a stairway. And so, not sure. This is kind of a moody picture. Black and white works pretty well for that. This gives you kind of a moody, spooky sort of feel, but it's also daylight, so it shouldn't look this dark. Minimalism is pretty high in black and white photography. You see, we'll see a bunch of minimalist stuff here. It's a lot of black and a lot of white, and very simple themes, and in some cases, not a whole lot of variation in the shades of gray. I kind of like this one. It was kind of neat. Silhouettes.
Like that.
Yeah, this is kind of a nice picture. You know, like, you can tell that this is a. I mean, the colors, the black and white colors in this, I think, are really cool. But I do have a question, and I have a question on a lot of these, is why do this in black and white? Wouldn't this be just as good in color?
The hairs, the white hairs on his neck, on his mane, are especially bright compared to the surroundings and would stand out more in black and white.
Yes.
It shows
Yes.
motion. That's the whole
Yes.
thing about motion there,
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
as one example.
Come on, keep coming. I kind of like this photo. I think those eyes are really dramatic, right?
Black on black.
Yeah.
The way it grabs her features,
Yeah. Yeah. You think that's a woman?
I would say.
Okay, I can't tell. I mean, it could be.
That's my first knee jerk, but maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those penetrating eyes that just
Yeah.
stand
Yeah.
out.
But there's a nose and mouth that are strong.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
all the features are.
Yeah. I think this is a very nice photo. It's got all the good tonal qualities, etc.
The Netherlands.
That's flamingos.
Yeah.
Here's a picture of, I guess, a factory. And one of the things that I have this problems with black and white photography sometimes is that when it's complex like this, it doesn't separate much, and it just looks like a toolbox, right? I mean, I don't see what the subject of this is.
Yeah.
That's not a factor of being black
Yes.
and white.
Agreed.
I'm sorry?
It's not a factor of just being black and white. It's just too busy.
Yes, yes, yes. But if you had color, you might be able to do something else with it.
Maybe.
Maybe. Here's another silhouette type of landscape with an airplane in it.
Nice.
And I've got more flamingos, just again demonstrating silhouettes and reflections. And I don't know what to make of this, but I liked it. I thought it was kind of neat. I don't know how he did it.
Photoshop.
Yeah, I'm sure it was Photoshop, but it was kind of, here's a flower, and the flowers, sometimes they look pretty dramatic in the black and white,
You're so right.
right? I mean, are they better? I'm not sure. This one here has a point I'd like to make, is that when you're doing black and white photography, foliage becomes a real problem. And I've noticed, and I don't think I can demonstrate it, I don't think I'll have time, but you know, if you look at the grass in there here and the sky, I think they're rendered pretty much correctly for a black and white photo. But you see that I'll show you some more where the foliage is distorted. Does it make any difference? You know, it's all part of the artistic thing. Everybody's going to have to pointer stopped. Uh-oh, now what? Sorry,
Well, that one shows leading lines, which make a difference for black and white also.
yeah.
The connection is lost. Do you see that?
Yeah, I know. I changed pointers.
Okay.
I got technical difficulties. I got trouble right here in River City. Another minimalist, very sharp, contrasty sort of picture. Another example of the same thing. I hope you're trying to decide whether you like these or not. Another flower with very nice tonal range and details.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's an example of the tonal range here allows you to separate all these different ridges. I'm not sure whether that's different than in black and white. I mean, in color, but you know, like this is what you have to do in here. Okay, now I'm connected again. Jeez.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so here's line shapes, probably direction. I imagine this guy was taking this picture while he was moving, so it's kind of interesting. Come on. Another flower with drops. This is similar to some of the pictures that we've been seeing in our own group, but this isn't black and white. Patterns. It's kind of a spooky look, huh?
Yeah.
Kind of like
Dark darks.
yeah. So it's a very dark thing, but it seemed to work in this photo, I think. This is kind of interesting. I picked it out. You know, like this is you know, very sharp contrast, but it certainly has a universal appeal, I think, and you know, like a young person's face. You remember that I did a picture of a bicycle that I showed in this group some time ago, and I hope mine didn't turn out like this. You see that there's no tonal separation. Everything in here is almost the same shade, and so it doesn't really pop. And I think that's just an example of how you have to get that tonality just right. And I may be being overly critical some of these, but.
No, I like your justifications.
And, you know, like again, more tonal variation and contrast that brings out those rocks in the stream. This was one that when I first saw it, I picked it and said I really liked it because I thought of all the little stories in it. There's boats in it. There's a wind farm. And as I looked at it, I kind of noticed that the artist had put an awful lot of vignette in it. And I didn't like it. So I made a comment and the guy answered me back and said, yeah, sometimes I put too much vignette. So I would have liked to have seen this without the vignette. And I also would have cropped it a little more. I don't know that he needed that whole thing, but Anyway. This guy has about a dozen of these trees. I'm sorry I showed a lot of them, but there's high contrast, which kind of makes the trees stand out. Cats, somebody liked cats, right?
I do.
Me.
I do.
I have 3 cats.
Yeah. And, you know, like, I mean, I like this photo. I thought it was pretty good. You have a nice picture of the eyes. They're a little receded, but I don't know, the tonal quality all seems to fit. It seems correct. This is just a silhouette. Getting into too many of these. Are these coming up, or you're seeing all of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Another black and white, so a lot of contrast in this one. We could call this one Plato's Cave.
Yeah.
So this is, I kind of liked it. I thought it was a nice picture, but it's, oh, and this one, how about this one, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I
nice
mean,
one.
this is like scale, man.
Yeah.
I mean, gee whiz.
Well, without those,
I don't know that I'd put that on my living room wall, but if I had a travel agency, I would.
if you took all the people out, it would be a completely different picture.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah,
Beanie
Yep.
ships.
yeah.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like when we're taking pictures of people, it's kind of an interesting thing. I haven't got my head around black and white for people, so I've shown some, and you'll have to make your own determination. We don't see his face. I guess there's a story here, and the contrast, like the picture of the young person, woman, or whatever before we just saw the face. Is sort of an interesting contrast. Okay. Peking, a Mandarin duck in black and white. What's with that?
The color.
Juxtaposition.
I don't know. I mean, it caught my eye, so I put it in, and I like the way that the water is swirling. I mean, I thought that's really kind of a nice effect. And the Mandarin duck is fine too. I mean, it really looks kind of interesting. But again, why not put it in color?
You know, maybe the
What color?
textures on the black and white might be more pronounced than what you see in color, because the color will distract you.
Yeah. Well, I think that might be, and I have a couple of pictures of Mandarin ducks if we get to them, just for contrast. I can't move these around and put them in juxtaposition. They're just dropped in the box. So that's just another tree. I picked a bunch of these up to say something. I picked this one up just to show how texture can be rendered in black and white. This texture of this statue here is kind of interesting.
In the contour.
Well, I'm just making points. I mean, I hope you're enjoying seeing these. Another.
They're all really good.
Yeah. This face intrigued me as well. Oh, no, these are, come on. Oh, I like this one. This kid's eyes are just terrific, right?
Mhm.
Black and white wedding photo. I mean, there are some people that do that. This has been vignetted pretty well, pretty dramatically. Now, here's one that I think was probably, I would guess that this is probably a failure. This is probably an Indian or Pakistani woman. She probably has a colorful dress, and it just melds in with the background. I don't see her being separated out. So,
Well, maybe in real life, she's not separated out. I mean, he
Well,
might
maybe-
be making a statement.
well, maybe not, but I mean, I'm just wondering. I think that to me, this doesn't do much for me unless it was just you know, my niece walking around.
If it was close up with that background, it might have been.
Yeah, close up it might have worked, but come on. An awful lot of contrast. Is this too much contrast?
It doesn't do a lot for me.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I think it's too overworked.
yeah, too much contrast perhaps.
Too much stuff.
Too busy.
Yeah. Now, and here's another one. This one here, it looks to me like there's not enough contrast in this one.
This begs for contrast.
Pardon me?
This begs for contrast.
Yeah, it begs for contrast. And I think that the fellow has rendered some HDR in it too. It looks to me. I don't know whether you can see it that way, but I mean, here's a good use of black and white for shadows. I think that's kind of a neat photo.
And perspective.
Yeah, and perspective. Yeah, that's kind of cool. This is an example, in my mind, if you look at the foliage back here, the foliage doesn't look right to me. It's too light.
Like a negative.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I have that one in there. I don't need
I
it.
think the train is the Alaska Railroad.
Is it? Oh,
I
you know
believe I
that?
saw that. I believe I saw that, and it's an example of the old Alaska Railroad.
Really?
They're gonna grow up.
Now here's another use of black and white, which is to evoke nostalgia. Right? This is an old general somewhere, and I don't know where, but and I guess, you know, like this is supposed to evoke some nostalgia, and I think it works for that. On the other hand, what if they'd done this in color? It would have also been nostalgic, and you would have had the benefit of all this color in there. No, that's just a silhouette. But faces like this, you know, is that it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting. There's a lot of texture in it.
Texture, yeah.
Does tells you a little bit about the you know, his emotion maybe. Once again, I think this is foliage which has, I think this is grass. These are leaves, and they're not the right color. Does that matter? It doesn't matter. You can make, if you like it, you like it, right?
It looks
I'm
like
just pointing this out for people who do
overexposure.
black and white. You're going to find that this sometimes is a little odd. And another picture of a face. This guy's got an interesting expression in his face, and a fair amount of texture in the beard and then the chainmail. Come on.
Oh,
Yeah. I talked to you about black skies. Look at that. The sky is very black. And a lot of, I like this photo, but you know, like I still wonder, you know, like you got to be careful of some of those the variations. Another foliage thing. I think these are the Proud Boys.
Oh,
I don't think they wanted their picture taken in this one. Here's foliage again, and you know, like without so much contrast, you can see that, but you know, like, I mean, to me, it begs a little bit of separation from some of the other things. Come on.
It's just a lot better on a very simple photograph rather than something complex, and you just have to
Right.
live with it.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the things that I think is true, is that if you have something that's simple, it works better, or something that you have a good, strong subject.
mhm.
Interesting fellow. It's a fashion shot, I think. It seems nicely done. And how about a black and white tiger? Black and white nun. There's a good story here.
the same picture in color.
Yeah, it'll be the same. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But there's too much difference in the distance between them, because he looks absolutely huge. And
Yeah.
she looks really teeny, and you never not the right scale.
Yeah, but that's Sister Agnes Marie. And when she looked at me like that, I better have my homework.
But you could have cropped it.
This one, I threw that in because it was just one of these things. It's very dark, very light. And I actually didn't think this generated much interest for me, but just to show this black and white sort of, let's see, these were some people shots. Oops, I can't go back. The previous one was looked like a fashion shot of some sort, seemed to be nicely done. This fellow has a very intense look. Again, this one here, I'd love to see what the color shot was like. This guy probably has a colorful shirt. Does the black and white bring out the features of the face better than color? I'm not sure. I mean, it would be nice to put these together and put them next to each other and see which one are better. Interesting.
That works.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Now that works in black and white, doesn't it? But it's sort of
The
abstract.
leaf wouldn't be prominent in color.
I'm sorry?
A leaf or whatever the butterfly's standing on would not show up well in
Right, right. So in this case, I think we're looking at
lines working.
yeah. Interestingly, this film here has a lot of grain in it, so it could have been an actual film photograph. I don't know. A lot of contrast in it. Here's a portrait, which I think is very nice. I think they've caught the expressions of the people very well. Again, is it better color or black and white? Come on, come on.
You have both, so.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, you know, like, I mean, either one or both are good. I mean, I'm just presenting the things and seeing how that looks. Again, texture and the expression in his face. To me, this kind of works in black and white.
And also extra dark.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I can't go backwards. That's a shame. Here's geometric shapes and backlight and silhouette. I mean, like I said, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. I kind of like these patterns and shapes. And I think black and white does a nice job with that. And Venice, what can you say? And here's another picture of a horse, which I think has been very popular. 3,600 people liked that horse. I think this is sort of an interesting use of backlight. It's kind of a reverse silhouette. You see the silhouette of her outline silhouette is captured on the face. I think that's kind of a neat photo. I'm not sure I care that much for that. It's kind of busy.
I like that.
I
like that. Kind of eerie, witchy. It's a dark and dreary night.
Oh, this one here? Yeah, yeah. It's kind of interesting. Come on, let's go. Well, that's kind of plain. Now, here's another picture which seems to me to evoke nostalgia, and I think this is fairly successful to me. Kind of an interesting arrangement. That's cute. Oh yeah, here's this one here. I criticized the photographer on this one. You know, he let that tree get right in the way. He should have been on the other side of the tree.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Sometimes you're in that.
Being charged by a ride.
Sometimes you're in that safari vehicle and you only have one seat.
Yeah. Well, I'm kidding, of course, but
He's running for his life.
yeah, probably. He's taking the picture over his shoulder, right? Here's an example of using shadows again, which is pretty cool. The whiskers on the cat are kind of neat.
I think Dawn took one like this.
Yeah, yeah, she did. That's probably why I picked that one. Here's a landscape with very dramatic black and white.
Winslow Adams.
Yeah. Now this here is an example of, you know, like here, this picture is too busy, right? I mean, I don't think black and white helps this. Do you think?
Oh, it probably does. It's less confusing.
Well, maybe, but it may be less confusing. At least you might have colors out here, which would bring your eye something other than just, you know, kind of just a series of random lines.
Right now, the girl on the bicycle is about the only thing you can really make out. So maybe
Yeah,
that's the
exactly,
point.
exactly.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
And that's kind of cool. Come on. And these things are, oops. The previous one was, sorry, I can't go back for some reason. Wait a minute, maybe it's just the way that, oh yeah, I can go back. Wait a minute. I have to get rid of your pictures to go back. So that's a really interesting, I think that's kind of an interesting picture.
Yeah.
It's got a story to it anyway.
Yeah, that's nice.
Very interesting sky, a lot of tonal variation. Oops, what happened? Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Oops, sorry. I'm just randomly clicking things. Oh, shoot. I wanted to get back to this one. This one here was kind of an eye puzzle. Come on, guys. This thing is confusing me. This is kind of an, I looked at that and I said, what the heck is going on there? Everybody figured that out?
3 bicyclists.
Yes, it's 3 bicycles. The picture is upside down. And this guy and this guy are real, and that's his shadow and his shadow. This guy's real, and that's his shadow.
Mhm.
I kind
I
of
think
like
it's
this one.
clever.
Pardon me? Yeah, it was. Yeah, in the moment.
Yeah.
This is. I like this one. It's kind of interesting. That works in black and white.
Mhm.
This one here, I don't know. Interesting, hey? Let me see. Kind of abstract, but it's a landscape. Oh, dang it, come on. This one here, I don't think has quite enough contrast in it. I don't know whether the other guys you guys feel that way, but this one here has enough contrast. It's kind of an interesting little picture. Trying to get, now here's getting near the end of this series. This is a kind of a minimalist in color, I think. And I sort of thought that was kind of just to show that color can also do some of the things that black and white can do. That's okay. Hide these ads. There's no ads here. Come on. Color. I can't change these. So this was an interesting. I think this looks like one of Cynthia's pictures. And this is a minimalist view in color. I thought that was kind of like just as a contrast to all the black and white that we've been seeing.
I like that.
And remember, we saw these pictures of these leaves in black and white. Here's a picture of the same thing in color.
Better in color.
You like it better in color, yeah. What did I do with
That particular
one that we just saw?
The tree.
Yeah, yeah. This is kind of okay. Come on, I'm almost done. Oh, okay. And this is the last. I think it's the last one of this. No, there's one more. This one I particularly liked as a black and white photo because I really kind of liked the shape of the light space. It's almost like the opposite of a shadow, and the figures seem to be nice. So I kind of like this this particular photo. And then I think, oh yeah, and I did find a Mandarin Duck in color. So now you can decide whether you like Mandarin Duck in color or not color. What do you think?
I like that picture.
Anyway, all right. Now let me see if I can demonstrate.
It's 6:47.
I know I'm running out of time, so I'm going to. Where's my photo here? Where's my photo album? Oh, here we go. Okay. I put some photos in here, and let's see. Now these come up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to let's see if I can get that out of the way. I'm going to just the next thing is to say, well, when you have a black and white photo, or when you have a, what do? Do you take color and make it in black and white, or do you try to make it black and white to begin with? I mean, one way to think about it is that you probably should think about what the tonal variation is and what the light is to sort of visualize a black and white photo, if that's what you want to do. Or you could take a picture like this and say, well, how about if I make it a black and white? And this is in
Photo.
Apple Photos. And there's two ways that you can make something black and white. You can go to saturation and just take all the saturation out. There's no color now, right? But boy, that's no good. The other way you can do it is you can get down to the black and white level here, and you can use that. And when you do that, you can fiddle around with that a little bit. So that does a little bit better job. Other times the other way does it. If you're using something like Photoshop or Affinity, when you go into the black and white thing, you get color sliders, and the color sliders make a big deal of difference in what you're going to see in the output. And all I can say is that, you know, like, this all requires that you have some knowledge of color theory, I guess. But you got to figure out what the luminosity is of each of the.
Lightroom does that too.
And Lightroom does it, yes, yes. I've not used that, but I know that they do. Let's see if we can go. Let me just show. Let's see, I got to get out of that one. I had another picture there. Oh, where is it? Tag on it. Not where I want it to be. All right. Oh, this one. This one was sort of the same idea. This was a colorful photo. Oh, good Lord. Original. This is a colorful photo, and when you take away the saturation, you get very little separation from this stuff. And using these other sliders, you can get that. So the short story is, if you have a photo that you think will work in black and white, you have to know whether there's enough contrast, and then you have to figure out how you're going to switch it to a black and white photo. Or you can take black and white film, I suppose, but that's a whole different thing, right?
Or you can set your camera on black and white.
Yeah, the problem with that, according to the people who give these lectures, is that once you do that, you've taken away all the color data, and then it's hard to make the sliders work so you can adjust. And that's you know, like, I've not tried it that way, but that's one of the ways to think about it.
Bill, what is your view about the role of composition in black and white?
Well, you have to, you have to, I mean, one of the things is, I guess, is that you have to think in terms of, the one lesson I might have learned is, like try not to be too busy, right? Those pictures that were too busy didn't seem to work for me. Make sure that your subject is strong, and then use your contrast to identify the subject and the theme. Now, I don't know whether or not the other rules of composition, like a rule of thirds or leading lines or any of those things, would be any different. I don't imagine that they should be.
It seemed to me that in the absence of color, extremely prominent feature is the composition. What's the structure of this thing?
Yeah,
If
well,
the structure is not good, you can't, the contrast won't do much for you.
no, if you don't have a good photo, you're not going to just make it a black and white and make it better. Now, like, unfortunately, I know that I'm guilty of doing that, where I will go get a picture and I'll say, I wonder if that would look good in black and white. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't shoot much in black and white, but when I do use it, I try to use it when it's high noon or in the afternoon where you're not really going to get a good shot.
Yeah,
And then you can use the contrast of black and white to make it a better picture.
yeah, because your color pictures aren't going to be that good at that time. Like those pictures of the shadows, like the boys running around in the shadows. I mean, that you can't do that. I mean, black and white, you might as well do it with that, right? Anyway, now the last thing that I was gonna mention, and I got just a couple of minutes left, is the idea of when you make a black and white photo, how are you going to present that? I mean, it's the same question you have with color, but black and white probably makes when you do the printing for that, if you're going to print it up into a thing, there's a huge change in the variation in what kind of paper you use, what kind of ink you use, what kind of printer you use, and how well you've mashed your printer with your monitor. And that's a whole other art form. And like if you are doing black and white photos, I mean, you should think about that. When you look at these on the screen, what do we get? 72 dots per inch, Steve?
Yes.
The monitor. And when you print, you get 300 dots an inch.
Oh.
So you get much more detail on your printed photograph than this. And you all put photos into the photo show, to the contest, the RiverArts show, and they were great photos. Everybody had a nice photo. They were all well done. But you didn't get the opportunity to put it on special paper or make sure that it was just the way you wanted and have the matting just right and all that kind of stuff. And those things are all, I think, important in presentation. So anyway, that's just my parting shot, that I just say that also is an important part of that. So once you do black and white photographs, you really have to think about how you're going to present it.
Thank you, Bill.
That's it. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they would like to add? Or
What did you learn about Ansel Adams, having done all this work on black and white?
oh well, I did not research Ansel Adams, but Ansel Adams, of course, was the guy who figured out how to just make all these with film in development, the zone system and all the things that he had done. He figured out how to make these things pieces of art. I mean, most of us struggle mightily to get something that looks even halfway good on the monitor, let alone on a piece of paper with, you know what I mean? I mean, the variation in different kinds of paper. If you see some of the videos that I sent you, each of them are accomplished black and white photographers, and they they talk about that like how do we print this up? How does this work out? And it's all about color theory, and it's something I still got to keep working on.
So, Bill Trainor, I want to thank you for a really informative and entertaining presentation.
Well, I hope it was entertaining.
No, it was really great, beyond my expectations. And we've got to stop now. We need to take a station identification.
Okay, good.